I've had a lot of people over the last 24 hours tell me, why are you defending Charlie Kirk? I'm not defending Charlie Kirk. What I am doing is putting out thoughts and prayers for his family and friends. He didn't deserve this. Let me be very clear. Charlie Kirk is the guy who said, if a few people lose their life from gun violence every year to protect our Second Amendment, I'm fine with that. Well, I don't think his family would be fine with that. I don't think Charlie Kirk was a good guy. I think he was a misogynist pig. He was racist. He was bigoted in nature. Said horrible things about women and about minorities. I don't agree with anything he said. I don't think he was a good guy. I'm not defending him. Thought he was a bad guy, but he's a husband. He's a father. His family didn't deserve this. I still don't think he deserved this. It's a horrible situation, and I wish it never happened. There is a difference between calling out political violence and being a human being, which I am, with a moral grounding person like I am, and having a moral compass, which I do. Now, I don't want to hear Donald Trump calling out political violence. January 6th doesn't happen if not for Donald Trump, and he pardoned those people, some of whom beat police officers. Many people on the right who called that a tourist visit on January 6th, I don't want to hear them talk about political violence. This isn't the left's fault, okay? It's not the right's fault. One person decided to commit this horrible crime. I hope they find him. And yes, I think if there's anybody that has incited more political violence in my lifetime, it's Donald Trump. I still feel for Charlie Kirk and his family. It's a horrible situation, but that doesn't mean I'm defending Charlie Kirk. What I am doing is I'm calling out political violence, which is never the answer. It's the cowardly way to act. I was not a Charlie Kirk fan. I never will be a Charlie Kirk fan. I think he stood for a lot of really bad things because I thought he was a bad guy. That doesn't mean I'm defending him. I am saying that political violence is never the answer. Turns out the guy who executed Charlie Kirk wasn't trans, wasn't black, wasn't an undocumented immigrant, and listen to this, wasn't even a Democrat. That's right, all these MAGA idiots on the right that were blaming the left for this horrible murder that took place. And it turns out this guy is a 22-year-old white male who came from a Republican conservative Donald Trump supporting family. There's evidence of that online. But you won't hear any apologies from the right. Donald Trump blamed the radical left. Almost every single MAGA Republican in Washington, D.C. blamed the radical left. Will they retract? Will they apologize? Of course they won't. This is your normal demo of your average person with evil in their heart. And we learned that Robinson's family, obsessed with weapons, absolutely obsessed. They taught him how to use them. And it wasn't Kash Patel or Trump's DOJ that found this 22-year-old. His father turned him in. Where are the apologies from the far right? Charlie Kirk's wife has the opportunity to do a lot of good. I feel for her and her kids. But the bottom line is Charlie Kirk was on the wrong side when it came to weapons and how easy people have access to them. And it might have been part of his demise and why he lost his life. His wife has an opportunity to bring Republicans and Democrats together, but I guarantee you she won't do that. She will say that she will continue his legacy, which was of hate, bigotry, racism, misogyny. And remember, it was Charlie Kirk who said if we have some casualties from that sort of violence, that's what it takes to uphold our Second Amendment. Well, look at where he is now. His wife has the opportunity to do some good, but she won't do that. She will do what he did and blame Democrats for all of their problems. I think it's sick, and I think it's disgusting, and it's sad because she has the opportunity to do good, but I know she won't do it.
To MAGA folks all the time, your show is a call-in show. You speak to MAGA people, you speak to Republicans, Republican leaders, Democrats. So where's the zeitgeist today when you are on the air? And do you hear anything when you are speaking to these people? A lot of them, they just call in, that concerns you, not just today, but
Yes.
in general.
Well, I can just go by my show today. I got angry at both sides of the aisle. I had a MAGA caller call in blaming liberals and left violence for this. I got angry at that individual because I said, first of all, you don't even know who did this. And then I had somebody call in who called Charlie Kirk a Nazi on my show today, and I got very, very pissed off. First of all, Charlie Kirk is not responsible for killing 7 million Jews. And second of all, even if you don't like Charlie Kirk, now is not the day to be talking about that. Okay, he was murdered in cold blood today. So both sides of the aisle, I think, need to be appropriate here. If you're a MAGA supporter, yes, call this out. This is a horrible act of violence, but don't blame Democrats for one lunatic individual. And then if you're a Democrat and you can't stand Charlie Kirk, today is not the day to be talking about him in a negative fashion. You should be thinking about his family and his friends, and we should all be coming together and say we have to do some things and put some new laws on the books to help prevent these types of tragedies from happening in the future. So I think both sides, I see a lot of stuff on social media, and I had a lot of people call into my show today. Most of them all said the right things, thoughts and prayers for the family. This is horrible. But there were some people on both sides of the aisle on my show today that were saying inappropriate things. Tolerate that. We all have to be decent human beings and care for one another, even if we don't like another individual. Charlie Kirk did not deserve this, and when I see those pictures of him holding his kids, it gets me emotional. It's just terrible. On the same token, we see a school shooting and kids losing their lives. Thoughts and prayers aren't enough either. There's stuff to go around everywhere. This gun violence, we have 140 guns per 100 people in this country, and we have more gun violence in this country than almost any other country in the world. And after I heard of the school shooting at Sandy Hook, I said to myself, they're not going to do anything. And I hate to say that, but I don't think anything's going to be done here either. I'd be surprised. When you have a bunch of 8 and 9-year-old kids that are shot and killed, and they're not going to do anything after that, they're probably not going to do anything after this either. And again, Charlie Kirk and others have always advocated for more guns make us safer. We know that's not true. And the gun violence in this country is through the roof. It's through the roof. But they want to talk about black-on-black crime in Chicago. They want to deflect. They want to talk about drag queens. They want to talk about banning books. They want to talk about everything and anything else but one of the second leading cause of death in children, which is gun violence. And I've had it. And I have these conversations all the time. So I'm angry today. I'm sad, but I'm also very angry because this stuff has to stop. Republicans would come to the bargaining table with Democrats and put some proper laws in place that can help prevent things like this from happening.
Why can't people understand, just logically? Look, if you can answer this, probably.
Hey, everybody. I was on the air today when the news broke that Charlie Kirk was shot, murdered, killed. And I've had a little bit of time to process everything that's happened here. And obviously my heart goes out to Charlie Kirk's family. My understanding is his children and his wife were in attendance. I can't even imagine how frightening that must have been. I've now spoken to multiple people that were there, including my friend Parker, who was 30 feet from the stage when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Let's remember, it's not just Charlie Kirk's life being taken away, but what about all those people that were traumatized that were there? I've never seen anyone get murdered in front of my eyes. So my heart goes out to everyone that has been affected by this. I also find it very strange that they have not found the shooter yet. I certainly hope they do. But when I hear Donald Trump talk about political violence and the far right, they have no credibility. Speaking of political violence, we did have something on January 6th called an insurrection, where Donald Trump called those people, some of whom beat police officers with their own batons, patriots and hostages. Now, from what I've seen, every Democrat in office today has put out statements feeling for the family and friends of Charlie Kirk and sadness, which is a good thing. There are always going to be lunatics, whether they be on the far left or the far right, that are going to be distasteful, making jokes. That's inappropriate. I, for one, did not like Charlie Kirk. I don't think Charlie Kirk was a good guy. He didn't deserve this. His wife didn't deserve this. His kids now growing up without a father, they didn't deserve this. We can disagree with someone, we could dislike somebody, but that's the beauty of the United States of America, because we have something called freedom of speech. And just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean somebody should be slaughtered for it. And yes, I was even more angry when I heard about the school shooting that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, some kids that were just praying. We had another school shooting in Denver, Colorado today while this was going on. I say it every day. This is a major problem in this country. All the violence in this country, people who are using weapons. What are we doing in a society when anybody can just walk into a store and buy a bunch of magazines, tons of ammunition, and weapons that can shoot, or in this case, execute people from 200 yards away? What are we doing as a society offering the general public that kind of weaponry? Nobody in society needs it unless it's our law enforcement or our brave men and women in uniform. Period. When are we going to have a ban on certain weapons that can do this? You don't need these weapons to defend yourself. These weapons were designed for one reason and one reason only: to kill as many people as possible in a short period of time. I've met Charlie Kirk before. In fact, I met him in Las Vegas several years ago. Never liked him. But you see, I'm a person of empathy. Just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean they deserve this. And if you're making jokes about this, there's something wrong with you and you need to get your head examined. One thing I do know is that political violence is never the answer. And I'm very worried. I'm very worried about retribution. I'm very worried that there's going to be more political violence. I'm very worried that Donald Trump is going to use this, for lack of a better term, as ammunition. We have a terrible president right now under these circumstances that is not going to make things better and bring people together. He's going to further divide people, and he's going to try to use this to his own advantage. We can't let that happen. We have to all say to ourselves, regardless of what you think about Charlie Kirk, he did not deserve this. This is a horrible, horrible tragedy that should have never happened. All these school shootings and these innocent people that are losing their lives across the country, the hands of gun violence, should never have happened. We need to allocate more money for those in this country that are mentally ill. Taking their health care away is not going to help the situation any. Over 15 million people are going to lose their Medicaid coverage. You think that's going to help people that are mentally ill? We need stronger laws on the books. We need an assault weapons ban. We need to turn the age from 18 to 21. People need to learn how to use the weapons and store the weapons before they're able to buy a weapon. Red flag laws need to be stronger and more consistent. Just give me a couple of those. It'll save lives. Might not have prevented what happened today with Charlie Kirk, but it'll save lives in the long run. Isn't that what we want? We want this country to be more safe. And instead of sending out the National Guard to cities that are run by black mayors, maybe we should do something on this gun control issue. Again, my thoughts and prayers are to friends and family of Charlie Kirk. I wish this never happened. We have to call out political violence for what it is. It's wrong. Let's try to come together and try to turn a terrible negative into a positive. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk on a number of different issues, including gun control. But why can't we finally get Republicans and Democrats to sit at the table and do something about this? Let's try to come together and all agree that political violence is never the answer. Let's do something, and let's make sure that these weapons don't get in the hands of the wrong people.